As we await the arrival of Horizon Forbidden West, we in the lore community can't help but theorize and speculate on what we can expect from this much-anticipated sequel. Today, however, we will be turning our attention to a more familiar face that appears to be joining Aloy in one way or another, facing the dangers that lie ahead. Among the artwork for the sequel, including new machines, landscapes, and tribal warriors, we can also see another huntress, Talanah Khan Padish, Sunhawk of the Hunter's Lodge. In fact, alongside Aloy, it appears that the New Horizon comic series centers around the two warriors partaking in adventures leading up to the events of Horizon Forbidden West. So today, we will be diving into the personal history and accomplishments of this trailblazing figure of the Carja Sundom. Aloy first encounters Talanah during her trials to become a member of the Hunter's Lodge in the Carja capital city of Meridian. However, Talanah's uphill battle to the pinnacle of the storied institution began long before. Born of noble Carja blood, Talanah's ties to the Hunter's Lodge began with her father Talavad and her brother Bratavine. Both Hawks of the Lodge, her father even ascending to Sunhawk. These opportunities were reserved only for highborn males of the Carja for much of their tribe's history. Regrettably, much of Talanah's life was spent under the heel of these antiquated traditions, continued through the reign of the infamous Sun King Jiran, 13th of the Radiant line. Though his rule began quite well by most accounts, the ever-increasing aggression of the machines known as the Derangement would drive him to madness. Seeking a way to appease the angered machines, Jiran deemed that drastic steps needed to be taken. And so, the era known as the Red Raids began, as Carja forces invaded neighboring tribes, killing countless innocents and abducting many more to be used in ritualistic human sacrifice. Though few dared oppose the will of the Sun, many Hawks of the Lodge, including Talanah's father and brother, were in adamant opposition of these heinous crimes. Tragically, for this stand against Jiran's tyranny, these brave hunters would soon find their lives forfeit. Expecting the worst, Talanah's father instructed her to wait outside the city until he could return to her. Hours passed with no word from Talavad, as he and his son were already being taken to the fortress of Sunfall to face public execution. Experienced hunters all, they fought back wave after wave of enraged machines in the bloody arena of Sunfall. Yet this defiance could not last forever. Beneath the blazing sun, two behemoths were brought into the arena. The machine's ferocity even damaged the arena itself, and those within fought to defend the very people who had gathered to cheer their eventual demise. Talanah would never see her father or brother again. Eventually, a message reached Talanah of what had happened, and a final word from her father that she must leave Meridian, for it was no longer safe for her, and so she would leave the City of the Sun. After Jiran's second son Avad led a successful revolution deposing his father, the city was safe once more. As the sun rose on the reign of Avad, 14th of the Radiant line, wide-sweeping reforms of Carja culture took shape. One such mandate altered the bylaws of the Hunter's Lodge to permit women into its ranks as well as outsiders not born of Carja nobility. With this mandate, the Hawk Tarkus, longtime friend of her father, took Talanah on as his thrush, and her time with the Hunter's Lodge began. Though a boon for the Huntress, her inclusion was not met entirely with optimism. With the felling of the first recorded Thunderjaw, the hunter Assis had now risen to the rank of Sunhawk, the Lodge's highest honor. A Carja fundamentalist, he saw these new inclusions and changes as an affront to the Lodge's heritage and traditions, and showed open disdain for Talanah. Even worse, under his leadership, mention of the Hawk's ultimate sacrifice at Sunfall was not to be permitted. Thus, her journey began to unseat his authority and honor the legacy of her fallen family. The only way to do this, following the bylaws of the Lodge, was to invoke Section 2, Article 5. The hawk who hunts the greatest prey shall become Sunhawk and lead the Lodge. A tall order, but there was one such beast that could tear Assis from his seat. Assis had brought down a Thunderjaw, yes, but not the Thunderjaw. For still on the prowl was the terror of the South itself, Redmaw. A machine that had laid waste to hunters, mercenaries, soldiers, freeholds, and caravans over the reigns of both Jiran and Avad. She and her hawk Tarkus had found their prey, and sought to bring it down. As all those who had attempted before, however, this task was only met with tragedy. One day, word reached Talanah that Tarkus had set out upon hearing the machine's whereabouts, apparently wishing to take on the beast alone. By the time she caught up with her hawk, the damage was already done. She arrived just in his final moments, his wounds too grave. As Redmaw made his escape, the spear of her mentor planted firmly in its metal hide. As the bylaws of the Lodge commanded, in Tarkus's death, Talanah ascended from Thrush to Hawk, yet no closer to achieving her ultimate goal. Luckily, the fates would soon change for Talanah when a fiery-haired huntress of the Nora arrived in Meridian. Seeking admittance to the lodge, a condescending Assis recommended her to Talanah for potential sponsorship. After a series of tests and trials, Aloy became the Thrush to her new Hawk. After completing an expedition to hunt a Stormbird, Aloy returned to find Talanah had departed. News had come to the lodge of Red Maw's location, and unable to wait knowing Assis would be hot on the trail, Talanah had to go. Unfortunately, the Sunhawk had taken additional measures to ensure that he would be the only one attempting to slay the legendary machine. En route, Talanah was ambushed by 9 mercenaries hired by Assis. Luckily, with Aloy able to finally join the fray, the two were able to bring down their would-be assailants. It was then that Aloy was able to divulge an ugly truth to her Hawk concerning the death of Tarkus that she had learned from the retired Hawk, Legan. Not only had Assis just sent assassins after Talanah, but he had withheld information from her when Tarkus had attempted to kill Red Maw. Her Hawk hadn't wished to go alone, and had left word of his whereabouts with the Sunhawk to deliver to Talanah, information that could have saved his life. Yet another act of treachery that demanded retribution. With the aid of Aloy's focus, they found Red Maw already in battle with Assis. Though he fought well, he was brought down by a monstrous swipe of the Thunderjaw's tail. It was then that the two huntresses seized the moment and together brought an end to the most murderous of machines. Even in his dying breaths, Assis was unapologetic of his actions and expired soon after. The historian in residence of the Hunter's Lodge attributed cause of death to crushed internal organs and evidence of bowel failure. Upon delivering Red Maw's trophy, Talanah was indeed elevated to the rank of Sunhawk, the first female to ever hold the esteemed title. Her first act as head of the lodge would be to found a memorial to all those who gave their lives in the Sun Ring that fateful day, finally giving her father and brother the honorable recognition they deserved. Sometime later, as Aloy had done for her, Talanah would come to the aid of her Thrush in their darkest hour. As the awakened Pharaoh machines laid siege to Meridian, hoping to take the Holy Spire, Hawk and Thrush battled them back together. With the aid of her allies, Aloy was able to bring an end to the looming shadow, purging Hades from Minerva's transmission array and save the planet from a second apocalypse. As far as characters to potentially stand at Aloy's side in the coming challenges, Talanah makes a good deal of sense both narratively and mechanically. Both lost their families at the hands of fanatics, defied the odds to achieve the highest honors in their respective institutions, and battled side by side on the side of life, knowing that they may not live to tell the tale. Fierce, yet poised. Confident, but not arrogant. Proud, yet understanding. With rumors of some manner of co-op coming in the sequel, the two Huntresses represent some of the most accomplished warriors we have seen in Horizon, an impressive duo that seem more than ready to conquer all that awaits them in the Forbidden West. And with that, our journey comes to an end. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated, and if you really like what we're doing here at the channel, come join our community, hit subscribe, and ring that bell. Also, a huge thank you for the continued support of our Patreon community, helping us continue to supply quality content just like this. And as always, thanks for watching, and keep questing.